Hey everybody, we're back with Avengers Twilight issue number 3, and this is definitely the best issue so far. So here's a quick recap and explainer for those who have and haven't been following along. So Avengers Twilight is an alternate reality series written by Chip Zdarsky. It takes place in a dystopian world where America is prosperous but not free. There's a team of new Avengers that act as the government's police force, while all the real heroes have retired or gone to ground, including Captain America. In fact, Captain America had the super soldier serum removed from his body, making him age at a normal rate. But now Steve Rogers is back in the game. Luke Cage gave him a new super soldier serum, and Steve attempts to make his case in Times Square, urging the American people to not turn their backs on everything that's wrong with the country. Unfortunately, his plea falls on deaf ears. However, it's not missed by the government that Captain America is once again active, and they try to assassinate him. The main villains of this series are James Stark, the son of Tony Stark and Janet Van Dyne, but the true villain is the Red Skull, posing as Kyle Jarvis, the brother of the late Edwin Jarvis. Now, in the last issue, the government sent out their special strike force, known as the Thunderbolts, which is actually a specific division or squad within the US Marine Corps. And one of them was a woman who goes by the name Bullseye. Now, as far as I know, there's no relation to the villain Bullseye, nor is there a relation to Hawkeye. However, you'll see some similarities in this issue. But Bullseye, whose real name is Ramona, is being chewed out by her superior due to the fact that she voluntarily chose not to kill Captain America despite having him in her sights and being the best sniper on the squad. However, she believes that she simply didn't kill an unarmed civilian, which Captain America sort of was because he did not have his shield, nor did he have any weapons. He was simply there trying to send a message to the people. However, her superior tells her that that's exactly the problem, is that he may be just a civilian, but he's also Captain America, and that his ideas are dangerous. Now, at the Defenders headquarters, there's the kind of tech guy named Tyler. What's funny is this guy makes a transmitter to find the frequency that the disembodied head of Tony Stark is sending out. The disembodied head that his son James basically mind melds with using a machine to get ideas from Tony's head. So he's sort of alive, but not really. And in the last issue, Steve and Luke decided that they should try and save Tony Stark. So this kid creates a transmission device. He says, yeah, I'm not entirely sure how I managed to make one, but I've got it sending the signal you wanted. Which seems like a weird way to avoid exposition. And this guy who doesn't know how he made a scanner to find a disembodied head somehow believes that he's qualified to join Steve in their journey to the Raft, which is where Tony is being held. Of course, the Raft prison used to hold supervillains. However, supervillains in this point in time have been executed. So it's really a scientific research center which experiments on the weapons and costumes of former villains. And one of the things I like about this issue is that you see a lot of reminiscing on the part of Steve Rogers, reminiscing over the old days with the Avengers. He's able to fly a Quinjet, which is one of the few remaining after the government took most of them, and he's even able to get his shield back from the Raft. So Steve, with the help of Tyler, is able to make his way into the Raft prison. And as he's making his way through trying to find Tony, he sees a lab where a group of scientists are experimenting on the weapons and costumes of various villains. For instance, you see the arms of Dr. Octopus, you see the Rhino suit, the Goblin glider, you see Vulture's wings, and even the Venom symbiote. But eventually Steve does find Tony. However, seeing the giant technological contraption, he realizes he has no idea how to actually get Tony out and transport him. But conveniently, that's when Ramona, aka Bullseye, shows up, crawling out of the vents. And at first it seems like she's there to kill him again, but it turns out she's actually switching sides, which is kind of odd at first because he says, why are you helping me now? And she just says, let's go. There's such a thing as over-explaining, but I think in this case we get too little explanation of why something is happening. And that's also when James Stark shows up. Now, James has recently finished building his own Iron Man armor, something that Kyle Jarvis, who's also the Red Skull, suggested that he do, given that Captain America has come out of retirement. And while Steve confronts James and telling him that what he's doing isn't right, especially, keeping his father contained this way, James tells him that, the world isn't the way you thought it was, Grandpa, and, everything, people are entertained, people are happy, people are fed, so we're not going to let a few whiners like yourself ruin everything. And if you think about it, it's a very similar argument to what Tony was making during Civil War, when they enacted the Superhuman Registration Act. The difference is that it's basically taken to an extreme. So rather than simply policing the superhuman community, they're policing everyone. And if you're wondering how they would do that, well, just like in real life, they don't do it all in one go. They slowly take away your rights in small ways gradually over time so that people are more comfortable with it. But Tony and Bullseye do manage to make it outside the raft. That is until James gets his full suit of armor on and starts fighting the two. And he does get the upper hand at first, especially after destroying the platform that they were all fighting on, sending a number of the raft prison guards into the ocean. And while they're being pulled into the water, Bullseye tries to save them. James throws Tony's head into the ocean, but that's when Miss Marvel pops up. Now, Miss Marvel is a grown woman at this point. She has kids, and she was sought out by Captain America in issue 2 as a possible ally. And whereas it seemed like she had no interest in joining the fight, obviously there's been some sort of communication. Otherwise, I don't know how she would have known to show up to this fight. But she saves the raft prisoners. She saves Bullseye and Tony Stark as well. And meanwhile, Cap and James are still fighting. It seems somewhat equal, but James definitely has the upper hand. And again, there's a lot of callbacks to Civil War here. And I think it's interesting because just like Tony, James, I think, actually believes that he's doing the right thing. That he believes that the state of the world is acceptable because people are safer and people are generally happier, even though a lot of people's freedoms are being infringed upon. But just as James is putting the beat down on Captain America, he gets struck by lightning, and that's when it's revealed that Captain America summoned Thor. He says that he prayed. I don't know if he's being literal or if he somehow sent a form of communication out to Thor. But either way, it's awesome to see Thor. I really liked his character design, and this means that the Avengers are officially assembling once again. As I mentioned in my video for issue 2, I'm hoping that them getting Tony Stark back means that they'll be able to kind of bring him back to a state of consciousness, and he will don an Iron Man suit. I mean, even though he's just a head, he's had an Iron Man suit that was controlled by an AI version of himself, so I don't know why a version of him with an actual brain wouldn't be able to do the same. But with Thor's arrival, I think the question has to be asked, where has Thor been all this time? You know, has he just been sitting in Asgard for however many decades this has been going on? Was it Steve Rogers himself who convinced Thor that people don't want heroes, or was it the events of H-Day and the death of Tony Stark and Janet Van Dyne? The synopsis for the next issue, issue 4, points to the idea that we're going to get some explanation as to what specifically happened on H-Day and what happened to Tony and Janet, and likely what caused James to become the person that he is today, outside of being raised by the Red Skull. But that's all I had for this video. Please let me know what you guys think about issue 3 of Avengers Twilight in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell so that you never miss out on a new video. Thanks for watching.